Hi everyone, how's it going? I hope you're all doing okay. It's Victor Counted here, and I'm really excited to be here with you to talk about a new topic this week as we look at different psychologies and how psychology can help us to live a flourishing life. And for today, we do want to talk about the Me Too movement. I know that it started, I think, before COVID, and we want to really understand the movement and how it kind of shook the foundations of the world, and very much so still also how it continues to impact society. But essentially, what I do want to do today, it's to sort of even though it's a hashtag, I think that the Me Too movement, it's sort of a global reckoning that's brought issues of sexual harassment and assault into the spotlight like never before. And I think that it's very much overdue in a way, but I do want to look at this topic beyond the headlines and the hashtag and see if there are perhaps a deep psychological undercurrent to this particular movement. And I do want us to sort of unpack what Me Too means, and perhaps the changes that it kind of sparked, and even the conversations it continued to drive. But I do want to start by talking about a bit more about the Me Too movement and how it started. Me Too, as we know, has acted as a collective unveiling that kind of brings to the light the often hidden prevalence of sexual misconduct. It sort of taps into our societal tipping point. In fact, a concept Malcolm Gladwell kind of popularized, where the idea of a tipping point is where an idea or a behavior kind of spreads like wildfire once it reaches its critical mass. Now, in this case, it's the public acknowledgement of sexual harassment and assault. And so, which, of course, as you know, had reached its tipping point. It was about time that something was done about it. But I do want to talk about how the Me Too movement had empowered so many people through their shared stories. Because I think that sharing stories on the Me Too has sort of created a sense of empowerment and solidarity, because it aligns with, as you know, the psychological concept of narrative identity, where we make sense of our life experiences through stories. Now, when these stories are shared, they kind of validate personal experiences and also foster community understanding in that sense. Now, we do need to acknowledge the role of the social media as a catalyst in this whole phenomenon. Now, social media platforms have been very crucial in amplifying the Me Too movement. In fact, they've not only done that, they also provided a space where psychological distance, like not having to face someone in face to face, can actually make it easier to sort of disclose painful experiences. So I do think that social media has played a huge role in the Me Too movement. It has also even created a space for collective empathy and outrage, which of course can translate into real world actions. Now, psychological impacts on survivors, it's important that we acknowledge what they are, because for the survivors, speaking out can actually be cathartic, but also re-traumatizing, because the act of actually telling one's story publicly requires vulnerability, which of course can be both a source of psychological healing for some, but at the same time, it can also be a source of pain, right? And so it's sort of a delicate balance that each person navigates differently as you look into the Me Too movement. But one of the things we do know it has done, is that it has shifted dynamics of powers tremendously, because Me Too movement started to kind of shift how we think about power in relationships, particularly in the workplace. It sort of forced a societal self-examination of the power imbalances that kind of lead to abuse. Now, this movement, I believe, underscores the power of systemic change to sort of prevent abuse and ensure accountability. So that's our look into the Me Too movement. It's kind of shown us the power of shared story and even the importance of social media, and even the urgent need for change in societal power structures. But overall, I think it's sort of a movement that sort of sparked necessary and sometimes difficult conversations that kind of reminds us that the personal, it's indeed political, you know. But I hope you've sort of picked one or two things from this. And if you are facing any form of harassment in the workplace, of course, the Me Too movement has provided that platform to share your experiences without fear of being marginalized. But I hope this has been helpful in understanding what the Me Too movement is, and how you could take advantage of that to also share your stories. It's me talking to you, and it's been wonderful talking to you today, and I hope you have a wonderful time today. Bye for now.